play. Damn it.
Nothing's for sure. It's showtime, folks!
Indeed it is.
Yes, indeed it is. Welcome to episode 6. Yeah, yes, thing. I agree. Yes, episode 68 of the PrimeTime Gorehounds. My name is PrimeTime James Thomas, and I'm here with Mr. Gorehound himself, Paul Berg, one from Davenport, Iowa, of the USA, and Paul over in the UK on October 6th, 2023, on Friday night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We are live. Yes, indeed. It's been a while. A lot of things have happened, and but of course we had to. The one free schedule, the one free time that I had to get this in, and of course, it is October, officially it's spooky season. Yeah, spooky season, and a lot of juicy stuff to talk about. But first things first, Paul, how are you doing, my guy?
I've been doing good, man. I'm still kind of living on the buzz from the last trip I was at 2 weeks ago. For anyone who didn't know, I was in Schwehen, Germany for a Venice Carnival themed event. It was the first time that it happened in that town. And, it was really nice to meet up with some old friends I met in Venice and made a couple of new ones. And we all had a good time, man. Like, it was just a really, really cool experience, And I never thought I'd have fun and, have fun taking photos and being a part of an event like that, even taking part with costumes as well. It's just a whole cool experience, man. I had a blast. And now I got graduation coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. So that's going to be an epic day.
Well, good to hear. Well, that's definitely awesome. Well, as for me, these past couple of weeks have been fun but busy. Fun but busy. Getting a lot more wrestling bookings over the past couple weeks. This is really probably one of the only weekend I'm actually kind of free. Hence why I was able to do a Gorehound episode. Hell, even that's kind of coming into question because I got to promote. I'm talking to a promoter right now about tomorrow, but that's neither here or there. But yeah, man, it's been a nice, fun weekend. Last weekend, I wrestled in a Mexican festival, and then some promotion, and then somebody paid one of the promotions that I wrestle for to perform at their backyard birthday party.
Oh, nice.
So I performed at somebody's birthday party last week, and crazy as it sounds, it was probably one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Oh, that's cool, man. You're having fun doing that, man. I mean, that's cool. I mean, you're having fun being on the road with the wrestling stuff you're doing. I've been on the road with the stuff I've been doing. It's been fun for both of us. What we do.
Well. Here's the thing. Like, we go to festivals and birthday parties. It's a lot of casual fans that's watching wrestling, so you're not really required to do a whole lot. Like if the crowd can pop off of you just doing a simple shoulder tackle, you don't really need to do all that flippy floppy shit. Like, it's not necessary. You just do basic shit, and then the crowd will be into it. It's all about just entertaining the people. Which that's really what it's all about. It's art that's kind of got lost over the years, but
it's all about having fun and just having getting the fans to have a good time, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day, man.
Yeah, it's not about it's not about taking somebody and driving their fucking heads into the mat like a hey, hope get well soon, John Moxley. But
Damn.
I'm sorry. That's just that's just that someone's gonna get. God forbid, but someone's gonna get killed doing that on
Yeah.
AEW television, bro. They're so reckless over there.
Yeah. No.
Hopefully, Edge knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I
But
couldn't believe that Edge was. I was just like, holy shit.
wait,
Edge
no,
is in
no, no, no,
Adam
no. It's
Copeland.
not. It's Adam Copeland. It's Adam Copeland
Yeah.
now. Can't call him Edge no more.
Well, I can still do it, but we know.
Yeah. But yeah, but yeah. So tonight, for the Gorehound show, usually what we do is we watch some of our favorite, horror films, and we give our reactions. But I figured because tonight, well, this weekend is the nationwide release weekend. Of the highly anticipated sequel, even though there's been 2 or 3 of them already, but the highly anticipated sequel, X's Believer, and then plus, yep, that's right, yeah, that's a lot of people's thoughts so far on the film. And then got this Thanksgiving trailer that dropped recently. I figured, okay, it was either just completely save all our thoughts on that until we do our regular format. We just completely save it till the very end, or we just dedicate a whole episode to it. And I figured, why not try something just a little bit different, this week. And just before we get started, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and of course, hit the if you want to check out my wrestling channel, go to the Primetime Podcast. That's my main channel. I don't know if you kind of noticed, Paul, but knows I'm kind of been doing the shorts.
Yeah, I've been noticing a bit more shorts showing up on there lately.
I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I'm kind of having more fun doing the shorts.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. As long as it's getting people to check out what we're doing, that's all that matters, dude.
Well, literally, the one short I did with Triple H, like I'm looking up and they're getting 2K, 5K views, and I'm just like, where the hell are you guys when I release full videos? But okay, cool. But yeah, I'm noticing how much views, how much traction those shorts get, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And then I can just pretty much say all I got about what I feel about a certain topic in under a minute. Okay, cool.
It works.
Yeah, whatever works. So please be sure to check out those shorts, and of course, the Primetime Podcast movie channel, and of course, my Primetime James Thomas wrestling channel. Paul, have you seen my Loser Must Retire match on my channel?
Yeah, I did see that match before I went to Germany, and it was a well-told story. I was really impressed by how that match turned out. The drama and the story that was being told and the way it ended. It was almost mirrored. It was almost like a mirror reaction I saw when it came to the match with Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair when that retirement match went down, the loser leave, that kind of match. And it was kind of that same vibe with the outcome at the end, if you know what I mean, where it was like, man, you didn't want to do it, but you had to.
Yeah, that's definitely the type of vibes that we're trying to go for. And then plus kind of telling the story that we were former best friends and all that stuff. And honestly, and one of those crazy, we only had an 8-minute time slot.
But you did a lot in 8 minutes, and that's what counts.
Yeah. And at first I was kind of about it because I at least wanted 10 to 12. But he gave us 8, and we had to be a strong 8 too. Like we couldn't, because a couple matches, of course, went over time. And then I figured, okay, so what we had planned, because here's the advantage that we had. The advantage that we had was, which by the way, if you haven't known what we're talking about, go to Primetime James Thomas. Probably my probably one of the best matches I've ever had was the
Yeah.
Loser Leagues SCW Pro match with Rip Studwell, who was in storyline my best friend. So two best friends trying to. It was a really good match. But one of the advantages that we had was that we were, two characters. It's been a storyline that's been building since January. Like January, we had a match in September. That's like a good 9-month build.
Yeah.
And it's really all you need is really a good engaging story, two characters people care about. You really, as long as you got that, you could, because the match we had was very simple, very basic. We didn't really do anything.
No, but the story was there. You were telling the story by how you guys were reacting to each other during that match.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really fun. Like it was really fun. Definitely go ahead and check that out. And really starting to get into my groove as a performer. Now like I'm starting, like it's all starting to click with me now about how to work a match.
Yeah.
And
I've noticed also. I'm going to put this out there. I noticed also the promo you cut after when you were saying about right now everybody's open season for making me do what I did. This is on you. I'm seeing this like change going on with your character. Like you're getting more, how do I put it? Getting more intenser now. So I'm thinking you don't have to take my advice on this one, but I'm thinking in terms of that when you change the mean streak of the character, have that come out a bit more, make your character get a bit more of a darker side coming out of your character, and even maybe switch the look up a little to represent that more. Like you, as the months go on, show it not just in terms of the matches, but also show it in how you carry yourself and also the appearance wise. Like go for that like more darker, edgier route and see how that goes.
I've definitely. Yeah, I definitely have been talking about a more edgier version because the story that I kind of want to tell is that what my character is like I'm a person that never really takes accountability for my own actions. Everything that kind of happens wrong in my life, I point the blame at other people, and thus for that happening, I keep losing things, like early in the year, I was the reason why our champion lost the championship belt. Instead of taking accountability, I point the blinger at my best friend. Because of that, I lost my best friend. So I just keep lashing out, and I just kind of keep getting more delusional and crazy. Layers. I'm adding layers to my character, and instead of me, taking accountability, I'm taking it out on the people. And I think what I'm trying to go, I'm gonna take it out on people. I'm taking it out on the fan favorites. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That the characters that the fans really like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I can just have this whole mentality of these people don't care about you. They'll chew you up and spit you out, all that stuff. And like a really multi-layered character I'm trying to build. Yes, that's one good thing about I've said about MJF. MJF was a very multi-layered character. Yes. You gotta have layers, man. This is what do people love about cake? It has layers. Ogres have layers.
This is true.
But yes, it's definitely been. I'm definitely looking forward to progression of my character, and hopefully, if Rip ever decides to come back, he's taking a break from wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Hence why we had to write him off. But what we're planning on doing is they're going to build my character up. They're reintroducing me, and probably going to get to a point where Rip is going to start jumping me at shows, and I'm trying to make it look like that he was not supposed to be there. That he just started jumping me from the crowd whatsoever. Just going to let that build for a few weeks.
Kind of like the whole situation with Matt Hardy and Edge.
Yes, exactly. Like he no longer works here. I'm talking about like I want to make it seem like he was not supposed to. He's he's a fan at that point now.
Yeah.
So he starts jumping me. I'm security. We were all over the place and all that stuff, throwing them out and all that stuff. That's gonna be like a weekly thing. I hope that's where we lead. I hope that's where we lead to.
Hopefully it does.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Um. So yeah. So definitely check those out for sure. So yeah, so let's go ahead and dive deep into Thanksgiving. This is a movie that stems from a fake Groundhouse 70s type trailer and whatever movie that came out. It was Death Proof.
Yeah,
Death Proof.
It was Planet Terror and Death Proof. It was like a grindhouse.
Planet Terror. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There were 5 fake trailers, and 3 of those fake trailers have now become films. The most well-known one is Machete, and then you had Hobo with a Shotgun, which Rutger Hauer was in, and now you got this one, which is done by Eli Roth, who also did the fake trailer for this movie, and now here we are 16 years later, and it's now finally become a film.
And yes, and the trailer is a very 80s style trailer, very tongue in cheek. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because often I get asked, I don't know if you get asked this, but I often get asked this is people that know that I'm into horror, they ask me like, do I think we'll ever get a horror slasher villain like Jason or a Michael or whatever the case may be? And I always say that the probability of that is, well, it depends. Like, how the slasher subgenre as a whole generally is not, it's not what it was 40 years ago in the 80s. And
No.
the slasher subgenre was getting major wide theatrical releases like Friday the 13th and Elm Street. Not all of them, of course, because there was a lot of B movie slashers. Well, you can really say the Friday the 13th films. Or B movies, or B movies, they're not exactly A films, but they were getting theatrically released movies that made a lot of money relative to its time period. And then horror, like always, has evolved over the years. Like, it evolves as it changes. We get into, the slasher movies and the supernatural films and found footage and paranormal, whatever it evolves into. And I don't know if the slasher subgenre will ever be huge again. With, again, it's not like we got in the 80s. Some people might hang on for a second. What about the Halloween movies? What about this? What about that? No, I'm talking about an original idea, not an established franchise. Now we're talking about mainstream theatrical wide release slasher films of the last number of years. I got to think about this, Paul. Out of the big 3, the most recent one is Halloween, but Friday the 13th was what, 2008?
It's been 14 years. You're talking since 2009.
2009. The last Freddy film was like what, 2010?
Yeah, 13 years ago, about a year later.
And then you had Child's Play and Candyman and Scream and all these IPs that's been around for a long time. We're not getting anything new. So the question is, do you think we're going to get a new villain that could inject some freshness into the slasher genre in terms of the mainstream audience? Not stuff like you'll find like on Netflix or whatsoever, or shit you'll find on Amazon Prime. I'm talking about, like you can say did the Hatchet films ever get a wide theatrical release?
The Hatchet movies have had like a limited theater run. Most of their times have been straight to video, but that's because at the time, you see, when you get a new slasher character, people are not sure about it, but it somehow builds a reputation and they get like a cult following, and that's how they lead on to making more films. Right now, Hatchet currently holds about 4 movies in the series. The last one was back in 2018. And Kane Hodder has been in all of them. So technically, we have seen some new villains showing up, although most of them have not been getting like mostly box office success. I think you can say the only one that I know recently that's had quite a bit of a splash in the box office would be Art the Clown from the Terrifier movies, because nobody expected Terrifier 2 to make the fucking money that it did. I mean, that movie went on to make what, 15 million against a budget of 250,000. It's getting a cinema run again in November, but here's the kicker. For that cinema run in November, they're going to show a sneak peek of Terrifier 3. So that's one character you could say has somewhat been making a splash. Victor Crowley from the Hatchet movies, you could probably say the same thing. He hasn't had the same level of success as you say, as some of the mainstream ones that's out there, but he does have his own co-audience. And then, of course, you've got like some of the lesser known ones that we've watched over the years. I mean, think about it. Like, during the episodes, like we had Maniac Cop, we had, like I said, the 80s was, you were seeing slasher movies popping up left, right, and center. Not all of them ended up getting sequels or mega franchises like the main ones that we know, but they have been around. So to answer the question about will we ever get to see some of the newer slasher characters make the same level of impact like the legends that we've seen? Well, that depends on a few things. One, how well it goes with the fans. B, how well received it ends up by critics, and how much they do at the box office. Because at the end of the day, you can have a movie that has like the best reviews on the block, but if they're not making the money, nobody's going to invest in it. And I mean, like another guy, like The Collector, remember that guy? Did 2 movies. We haven't seen another movie now since 2012. I know they were going to do a third, but the whole thing fell apart. So that's not happening now. So for this Thanksgiving movie,
First of all, how did you feel about the trailer?
Well, I saw the Red Band trailer about 2 days ago, and from what I've seen so far, I like it. It's got the whole vibe of 80s slashers vibe written all over it. I do like the look and feel of it. I think it's an interesting story too. Like the story of it is basic, is your simple like 101 textbook when it comes to slasher movies. Like something fucked up has happened, and somebody, they don't know who it is looking for payback for something that happened. From what I understand of the premise of the story, it turns out that some riot during Black Friday happens, which ends in tragedy. And now you got a killer known as John Carver looking like a pilgrim from Thanksgiving night, and he's offing people. For what reasons yet, they don't know. But the guy is offing them in pretty fucked up ways, and there's probably a reason behind it. So I'm thinking the story for that is probably something, maybe somebody like a relative or somebody's friend is what causes this person to be offing everybody because something happened during Black Friday. Because if you guys know, Black Friday, if you've been to a Black Friday sale in the US, it gets pretty fucking crazy. It's not kind of like that here in the UK, but I've heard some stories, man. But I am interested in this one.
And I think Thanksgiving is actually getting like a theatrically wide release.
Yes, it is. It's getting released in the cinemas on the 17th of November in the US and in the UK. It's being distributed by TriStar Pictures. Spyglass is one of the production companies behind it. And Eli Roth is directing it because, after all, he did create the spoof trailer for the Grindhouse double bill, which is what this was loosely based on. So I am looking forward to seeing it because, again, anytime you get a new horror movie or a slash movie, it's always nice to see how they're going to do. It all depends on how well the story's going to be and how well received it will be by fans of the slasher genre. I'm hoping the kills are going to be brutal. From what I've seen, it looks like they're going to be. So I got a little bit of hope for it.
Okay, what can we say, Paul, was like the last truly mainstream, iconic horror slasher villain? I can name one on top of my head right now.
If you're thinking Ghostface, I'm probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah, Ghostface.
Yeah, because
it's not even, and it's more so the symbol because it's not really particular. It's not really a particular person. It's more so the mask and the costume.
Yeah, and also, guys, you got to keep in mind also during the late 80s and 90s, slasher movies were pretty much fucking dead. When Scream came around, not only did it single-handedly revive the slasher genre, but it also ushered in a whole new wave of horror movies that we're seeing today. And if Scream wasn't successful, none of that shit would have happened.
Okay, some people are telling me somebody giving me Art the Clown. Okay, listen. Okay, listen. Okay, this is the time where I gotta sit the kids down until I have a little talk with them. Okay, look, Art the Clown. Look, I get it. Yes, I completely get it. But it's more of a community. It's a more of a horror community thing. What I'm talking about is that mainstream pop culture type of relevance. See, Art the Clown Terrifier 2 did have a theatrical release, but it was slow. It was sort of the same way they used to do it back independent films back in the day, like like Halloween, Blair Witch Project. You don't really see things like that anymore. When you play in some cities and you get the buzz. That's what made Terrifier 2 what it was. It was the buzz.
I think also it also came from the fact that you had a bunch of disgruntled Halloween End fans, and trust me, I was one of them.
It came out around the same time. You're right.
Yeah.
And it had a $250,000 budget, made $15 to $20 million. That is a huge success. No bones about it. Excuse me. However, and I say this because I think it's important that, yes, in the horror community, he's become a very
he's a fan favorite.
Yes, he in the horror community, he's a horror icon within the horror community. Yes, that some people outside of the horror may or may not recognize, because whatever reason. But he's not yet at a level anywhere near a Freddy or a Jason or a Michael. He doesn't have to be either. Like, I mean, This isn't like, it's not a dick measuring contest here. It's he's not there yet. And he hasn't crossed the threshold of the horror genre into the pop culture zeitgeist. He was knocking on the door there when Terrifier 2 came out. We got people like The View and Howard Stern talking about it. So he's knocking on the door there. And I
mean, shit, even Stephen King approved the movie.
Well, I mean, Stephen King. I mean, don't get me started on that guy. But
like I said, when you got names like that getting the film's attention, that says something.
But yes, but there's a very high probability that if you go up to the average fan, that's not a horror fan like that. We go to the average fan and you ask them, who Freddy Krueger is, who Michael Myers, who Ghostface is, they'll know right away. I don't think Art the Clown is at that point yet where you go up to a random stranger and ask, do you know Art the Clown? If you ask them, they'll probably say Pennywise or like Pennywise and all that, yeah, exactly. And but Terrifier 3 is getting a more wider release, which that should help. That should definitely help out.
From what I understand, Terrifier 3 is getting a nationwide cinema run. I don't know if it's going to get a cinema run in the UK, but I'm telling you now, if it does, I plan on seeing it. The budget is now larger. We're looking at 7 figures. I don't know exactly the number. I'm guessing probably 6 to 7 million. But the filmmaker has said he is not skimping on the gore, and he said the third one's going to be much more darker this time around. Because the second one was kind of played for laughs, but this one he's planning on going full on horror with this one,
which is good. Which is good because that's Terrifier's shtick. How bloody it could get, how violent he could get.
We know. We watched it.
And I'm glad Damien Lowe said that he's kind of taking it back to its roots, because as much as I enjoyed Terrifier 2, there were moments where it got a little campy. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what made it fun. Yeah. That's what made it fun. Exactly. But I'm glad it's going to more of the roots, of keeping it more grounded. Because again, Terrifier 2, especially towards the end, it got into some shit where I'm just like, do we really have to go the supernatural route?
Got to the point where she gave birth to his fucking head.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, all right, now we're getting a little ridiculous right now.
I mean, even you and me, we just sat there and we were just like, what the fuck did we just witness?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, we didn't have to go that far, but Art the Clown it's a different time now, how things are measured now with social media, all this kind of stuff. Yes. When somebody crosses the threshold of the genre, they're into the pop culture zeitgeist. You are essentially at a level where you are defining a generation.
Yeah.
So when you think of the 80s, right? When someone is going to draw a mural on the wall of the 80s, right? What are the things that you're likely going to see? Michael Jackson, Madonna, Freddie, Jason. Back to the
Mhm.
Future.
Yep.
Um,
Terminator,
like
Chucky.
yeah, ET.
Yep.
I don't know if they were to draw somebody of a mural of the 2010s, which is when the first Empire came out, 2016, right?
2018, if I'm correct.
Okay. I don't think yet the art will be in that mural. Now, if you get a horror guy to do it, like Paul, like yourself, maybe. But in general, I don't think it'll be in the 2010, mural. Like what would you have up there? 2010, maybe Trump. Oh Lord.
Oh, don't we start on
But
that?
no, but in the 80s you would have Reagan.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
important.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that when you get to that level, you're defining a generation, and that's a whole different level. You can be really successful, you can be really popular, you can be really recognized, but it's a different type of level when you're in the zeitgeist. That's a very different level. And Art, I'm not saying he's not going to be there, but I don't think he's there yet. And I think
I
he's. Oh, go ahead.
I think when this new movie gets a nationwide release, when it gets a more wider cinema run, more and more people will probably check it out. And if he goes down well with the mainstream media people and the casual cinema goers, then there's a possibility. I'm not saying that it's a certainty, but there's a possibility that this next movie could probably put him in those debatable scenarios where he could possibly have a seat at the table amongst all the other names that we've just mentioned. But until that happens, not a lot of people know it. It's like word of mouth cult following. And like I said, once more and more people start to know about this guy, or at least check out his films, then maybe people will start talking more. I know that both Terrifier movies right now are both on Paramount Plus, and a lot of people have Paramount Plus. So that's one way people are going to find out about those films a little more. So you got that possibility. But he's, like I said, he's like James was saying earlier, he hasn't quite reached that threshold yet. But if the third movie goes in the direction we're hoping it goes, in terms of where they're going to take it, then there's a very good chance that that could very much happen. I want to see it happen because it's nice to see a new familiar, a new face show up in the horror genre. I mean, as much as I love seeing Jason, as much as I love seeing Michael Myers and Ghostface have more movies, I think we can be in agreement here. It's time to see some newer faces, at least try and make a go of it and hopefully get somewhere. We're kind of seeing that with Terrifier. Hopefully we'll see that with Thanksgiving. I mean, that Winnie the Pooh movie's got a fucking sequel. Love it or hate it, that film has made a splash. I mean, I've got the first movie. I enjoyed it. Fuck, I even tried to audition for the movie. I was going to try and audition as Tigger, but I didn't get the role.
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it happens.
But Thanksgiving, I think the killer's name is John Carver, I believe his name.
Yeah, John Carver. Yeah, that's the one.
Hopefully it's good. Hopefully this creates some buzz where we kind of get, a new horror legend. And who knows, maybe 20, 30 years down the line, we'll look at John Carver like we look at Michael Myers and Freddy today. Well, because I know there's a lot of horror fans, again, they love the OGs, but they are ready for a new, ready for a new legend,
Yeah.
and KFC Horror has not tried. They have not tried. Cannot say they haven't tried. It just hasn't hit like it used to.
Yeah, like many have tried but not got the job done.
No, exactly. And hopefully it'll get to that point. I got a DM set up, kind of like Al. Well, Al. Like, what was that alien's name? Alfred. What?
Alf.
Alf, yes, Alf. That's another one in the 80s. Like in
Yeah.
the 90s. When you think of the 90s, what do you think of? You think of, Tupac, Kurt Cobain, Backstreet Boys, and
And of course, in the '90s, you had those mega popular original Ninja Turtles movie trilogy. Don't forget that during the '80s. You put a Mario on that.
exactly, exactly. And you know what? Since we're on the subject, why is it, Paul, that you feel like the mystique of the celebrity feels gone now and feels like nobody really stands out anymore like they used to? Because I was watching the MTV Music Awards a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I remember there was a time, Paul, and I'm pretty sure all you know this. There was a time when the only time you get to see some of your favorite artists that's not, making music, either at award shows or MTV or VH1 would do interviews with them. You didn't really see them like that
No.
often. Why do you think, Paul, feels like the mystique is like gone now? It feels like.
Well, I think for starters, it's the rise of social media and everybody's using it. I mean, who isn't using it these days, right? Now everything is on fucking blast like 24/7. You got a lot of people that find out more that way, and information is free. But whereas back in the day, before internet even existed, there was always that mystique about the celebrity. You didn't know much about them. You only saw them on the films. You only saw them on award shows, or if they ever sat down to do like a 60-minute interview with a talk show host or something like that. That's the only time you knew anything about those type of people, whether it's a movie celebrity, a TV celebrity, a fucking rock star from a metal band, or an R&B hip hop artist. You only knew about them from what you saw on magazines and TVs and whatnot. Now social media is around. Everything is everything is there for people to see, and you can watch what they do 24/7. You can check out their latest post, you can tweet them, and then like the mystique about them is pretty much gone because of that. And that's why when you think about top names, and that's why people don't generate as they don't get like starstruck or shit like that like they used to back in the day, because the mystique is gone due to the fact that now everybody knows who they are because of what they post or tweet or Instagram or whatever. So I think that's for me, that's probably the main reason why the mystique is gone, because of it's like overexposure now. And that's why people nowadays, especially in this day and age, it's like what do you call it? The lack of attention span. They see a little bit of something and then it's right on to the next thing. It's like junk food for the brain. They're going to be going at it nonstop, and it's like, okay, on to the next one, and then the cycle repeats itself. And that's why you don't. That's why you don't get that kind of mystique or buzz when it comes to like well-known names anymore, because of that.
That, and I also think that that of how easy it could be a celebrity nowadays. I mean, you could literally be a celebrity just for, I don't know, farting in a jar and selling it on eBay or some shit. It's like
Well,
it's so crazy how easy it is. I mean, look at Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber, he became famous. Like just for he was just a regular kid from Canada that was just singing on YouTube. He
yeah,
was just singing
exactly.
on
But
YouTube, and then the right eyes saw one of his videos and said, uh, "Let me fly him out to California, give him a recording contract." And now he
yeah,
became one of the biggest teen stars in the world. So it's like it's
exactly.
super easy now.
Yeah, because YouTube was the place where people can go and just post a video or post something. It doesn't matter what it is, and all of a sudden, if you get enough views, people will start coming at you. Like for me, like when I'm trying to stream video games, right? I don't get a shit ton of views because a lot of people are watching guys like XQC or Doctor Disrespect, and nothing wrong with that. But when you look at their content, and I just kind of think to myself, well, what is it about these guys that clicks with them, that because I'm doing nothing different, and yet I don't get that many views because I'm just a guy that just like to play video games. But that's just the way it goes, man. Unless you get lucky and have a video that clicks with a lot of people, or you're like a celebrity name and you're trying to jump on a platform like that, then people will take note. But it's a case of you got to be at the right place at the right time, because if you're not, you'll never do it. You know?
Agreed. I absolutely agree. And anybody that knows me knows that Michael Jackson is my favorite music artist,
Mm.
and what made him unique and what made him special, same with the Princes and at the time the Madonnas of the world, was that, like we said, like without social media, there was no internet. You couldn't Google see what they were up to. You never saw them. Like you never really. The only time you truly saw them was maybe like in a magazine interview,
Yeah.
or VH1 or MTV, like I said, or at an award show. That's why people used
Oh, there you are. It kicked you off for a second there, dude.
to Halloween for
Your
a
wave
quick
frozen.
second.
Yeah, you're back.
But that cut off.
Yeah, it kicked you off for a moment.
Oh no, what I was saying is that that's why award shows used to be a big deal at the time,
Yeah.
back in the day, because it felt like that was the only time you could really see your favorite celebrities. Um,
I don't
but
remember.
even but
It's been
even
a
but
long.
even let me just get this point out.
Okay.
But even down to a lower level, like let's talk about Halloween for a quick second. For the longest time, nobody knew what Nick Castle looked like. Nobody knew what Dick Warlock or George Wilbur or Chris Duran looked like. There was a mystique about them because we never really saw what their face. Nowadays, Nick Castle is everywhere. You can follow him on Twitter and social media.
Yeah.
So the ease of access to information has demystified everything, and nobody really feels special anymore, which is a shame. It's a shame. But go ahead. Go ahead. What was you gonna say, Paul?
When it comes to awards, man, I mean, I rarely watch them these days. The last time I watched a film awards show was back in, I think it was 2016, and that was when Mad Max Fury Road was up for all those nominations, and I was like really fucking rooting for that movie to win the top prize. Yeah, it won a lot of awards, but it didn't win the big one. So I was kind of bummed out about it. But that was like the last time in ages that I got properly invested in an award show just to see something like that win.
Yes, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. I don't watch award shows anymore. They're all fucking boring to me now. Maybe because of me being
Yeah.
older. I don't know.
I think the only one that's worth checking out is the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, and that's about it.
All right, so let's get into let's now get into the what everyone's talking about. Let's get into the Exorcist. We are officially has worldwide release, but of course, there has been advanced screenings that came out earlier in the week, and of course, this is directed by David Gordon Green, and this is the first of potentially of a new trilogy.
Mm,
And the Exorcist Believer, of course, celebrates, of course, the Exorcist celebrates 50 years this year, half a century, which is insane. Um, and it is one of the greatest horror films of all time. No, fuck that. One of the greatest movies of all time, and it defined a generation. Literally 100%. It was, again, I can understand now people seeing it for the first time. Obviously, it's a bit dated, but I still think it holds up. I still think it's a terrific story. And so now of course, there was The Heretic, which didn't do well.
mm,
Then there was the third film, which has now become appreciated. Um,
yeah.
uh, Fantastic performance by Brad Dourif.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely, dude.
um, But we've had, I don't know how many possession films, demon supernatural movies since, we've been desensitized to this. And I think that in embarking on this journey, you're already behind the eight ball. And when you slap the name The Exorcist on it, there's a lot of weight on that. And there's meaning to that one of the greatest movies of all time. And, it's, I mean, Paul, it's like,
It's some big fucking shoes to fill. Because
it's big shoes to fill. Yes.
I mean, look, think about this. The Exorcist, undeniably, not only is it one of the best horror movies ever, it is one of the best movies ever made. It's undeniable. You can put an argument to it all you want, but the facts don't lie, and the impact that the original movie has made. And like you said with the sequels, yeah, Exorcist Heretic was dog shit. The only good sequel out of all of them would be the third one. Then you had that fucking prequel called Exorcist: The Beginning, which was done by Rennie Harlan, and then they did another one called Dominion. And now here we are 20 years later. We're 6 movies in, and this is they're basically doing the Halloween playbook where they basically ignore all the other sequels, and this is really part 2, 50 years on. Now, I was trying to think if I was going to go first for saying this, but seeing that I'm kind of getting into it. Now, when I heard that The Exorcist was going to have another movie, I thought, okay, cool. And keep in mind, this is before I saw Halloween Ends, okay? So when I heard that the guy that was doing the Halloween movies was involved in doing this one, I originally was going to go into it open-minded. I was like, okay, he did good with Halloween 2018, which is James's favorite movie in that trilogy. He just did Halloween Kills, which is my favorite movie in that trilogy. Like, for me personally, that was the Halloween movie I always wanted to see. That was the Michael Myers I wanted to see after all these years, and I got that. And as like anybody else, my expectation was very fucking high with Halloween Ends, because seeing that trailer, I thought, okay, we're gonna get that epic showdown. Bring it on, let's go. I go see it in the movie cinema before James did, and he will tell you. At first, I was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" I watch it a second time, and anybody that knows me will know, and I make no bones about it. I fucking hate Halloween Ends. So any open-mindedness I had with Exorcist Believer was out the fucking door at this point. At this point, I fucking hated the filmmaker. I hated what he did with the film. And I heard a lot of controversy surrounding this movie. And you remember that article about the test screen audience that saw it? And even they said it was dog shit. People that saw the trailer said it was dog shit. And here's the thing. The reviews came out. The audience score and the professional critic score. And I want to share this comparison with you folks right now. Right. Now, think about this. Exorcist Believer right now on Rotten Tomatoes, as far as the professional critics go, and there's 149 of them, it holds a 21% approval rating. So it's certified rotten. The audience score...
So it got lower, because last time I checked, it was 24.
Well, now it's 21. And the audience score is 55. So the general consensus is that this movie is fucking dog shit. And I think one of the reasons behind that is you got a lot of pissed off fans of the Halloween film. I'm one of them. The fact that this guy is involved in making another classic just clearly indicates that he's gone and fucked this up. Now, here's another movie I'm going to bring into this. Saw 10. Now, everybody knows what the Saw movies is. James, you know the Saw movies. You've seen a bunch of them yourself. I'm a big Saw guy. I love the Saw movies. I've seen all 10 of them. I saw the 10th one a couple days ago. Then the thing that's surprising about that movie, listen to this. According to the audience score and the professional critics, Saw 10 holds an 82% approval score, certified fresh, and the audience gave it 90. People have gone on and said that this is the strongest movie in the series since the original. I've gone and seen it, and what I liked about it was that not only did it stayed true to the original Saw movies and had some really, I'm talking really brutal fucking traps in there. One person went as far as saying to me it was more brutal than Terrifier 2. That answer, it was close, but in terms of being the most brutal one in the Saw series, the answer to that is yeah, it is. But what made this movie, the strong point of that movie was it had a decent story, and the performance from Tobin Bell was is where a lot of the praise is coming from. Now think about this. Both these movies have come out a week apart from each other. Saw, for a lot of people, are saying is the better movie out of the two. Exorcist Believer is getting all the shit scores. So that tells, and like I said, when James was saying, "Hey, you gonna go check out the new Exorcist movie?" I said to him right from before the word go, I was like, dude, I'm not even going to give this movie the time of day. I'm not even gonna. David Gordon Green's not getting my money for it because I said I got a feeling the movie's gonna get shit bombed, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And I even posted a tweet a while ago. I posted a tweet with the hashtag Exorcist Believer, and I said, no thanks, I'd rather watch Saw 10. And I had the reviews comparison scored next to it. And then somebody on Twitter, I'm not going to say any names, but I'm going to quote you what this person said to my tweet. And this is why I'm kind of thinking to myself, man, I'm kind of glad I didn't watch this movie because it kind of tells you the kind of head frame that people are at. So all I said was hashtag Exorcist Believer, no thanks, I'd rather watch Saw 10. This person comes up and I quote, I saw Exorcist Believer and it was really good, okay? Big capitals. But white people were going off in the parking lot talking about even the devil's wokeism. Yeah, you guys can't give a fair review of a movie due to your racist core. This movie is not the loser you all claim. And I'm thinking, dude, all I said was I'd rather watch this movie over the other. But the person assumed I was something that I'm not. So I'm just like, yeah, you're getting blocked. But that's the mentality I'm getting at here, dude. Like, you got people right now, I'm guessing David Gordon Green sycophants that will defend this movie because a lot of people are like saying, oh, this guy's the best horror maker since sliced bread. And yet the facts don't lie when it comes to the overall consensus score between that movie, The Exorcist, and Saw 10. So in terms of horror fans and critics, Saw's the better movie out of these two, which is surprising. Here's the thing, though. In terms of box office, I mean, you and me both know this, James. You know that people are still going to go and see Exorcist, and you know that they'll probably make a decent amount of money. And right now, Saw 10 holds about 30 million, but to be fair, man, I had more fun watching that movie over The Exorcist. And the reasons being is the fact that he tried to one up the Exorcist movie with his version of The Exorcist, and some of the scenes I've heard were like shot for shot identical to the original film, and that's probably one of the main reasons why people don't like it, is because it's trying to be a carbon copy, and I think one person said it was even too preachy sometimes. But yeah, a lot of people say it sucks, so it's nothing to defend, really.
Well, you're always going to get. I mean, it was that same way with Halloween Ends, where where people were trying to do mental gymnastics to try to defend the film. You're always going to get people like that. But as for me, good soliloquy there, Paul. Now, again, I got to remind you, I haven't seen the film. I haven't seen the film yet. But it is getting trashed, which I kind of had a feeling it would.
I somehow
and
knew.
I haven't read any of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, like word for word. I've read some of the blurbs, and it's being called soulless and not particularly scary. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a few people that liked it, of course. And so here's the thing. So we obviously haven't seen it. And so this is, we are talking about this from a perspective of not having seen the film, me in particular. But I think we'll talk about this from at least a perspective that is informed based on a number of things. So let me start and say that one of the things that and again, we could watch it. Me and Paul could watch it and be like, "This is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen in my life." It's entirely possible. Now, you know, the problem with this is when looking at the reviews for The Exorcist, believer, and if you are somebody that's trying to figure out whether it's a good movie or not, whether you should go see it, first of all, go see every movie that you want to see, and not give a fuck about what anybody has to say. Nobody should ever tell you to not see a film because they didn't like it. You know, you go watch the movie, make up your mind. Never be afraid to like something that people didn't like. I mean, for example, one of my favorite films is The Thing. Okay, it's The Thing. That movie got shitted on in 1982, and now it's regarded as one of the greatest horror films of all time. So you go, if you want to watch the film, go watch the film and form your own opinion.
Exactly. Like I was saying, like if you want to go see the movie and if you enjoy it, hey, I'm happy for you. But for me, it goes back to the fact that I got burned by this filmmaker from the previous movie, and that's why I'm so. James will tell you. He will tell you my reasons why. That's why I'm so opposed to the idea of him even doing this kind of movie, because I just got that feeling he's going to fuck it up. And now I hear he's going to do a Hellraiser TV series, and I hear that Blumhouse is thinking about doing a Friday the 13th film, and I'm just like, that's fine. Just keep him away from it. I just don't want to see this filmmaker doing any more horror movies that we like.
And I completely understand it, but let me get back to my point. I think there's more weight that surrounds this film than the average movie that comes out, even the average horror film, because it is a direct sequel to one of the greatest horror films of all time. Again, one of the greatest movies of all time. The Exorcist is a movie that crosses the threshold, that gets out from underneath of its own shadow, even if it's in its own genre. It's in the pop culture. And it's very different. There's a lot of weight. There's a lot of people that it means a lot, even more than Halloween. Even more than Halloween. And Halloween was a big deal, but but some people say that The Exorcist is above Halloween. So when I read the reviews and I see the rating, I'm like, okay, well, we kind of expected this, and look. There's a couple things, right? And again, we're coming at this from a perspective of not seeing the film, but this is the kind of situation, and it's almost unavoidable. And you're going to get people that are going into this film with their arms crossed. Again, I'm not taking shots at you, Paul, but there's going to be people that are going to this film arms crossed, nose in the air, and they want to fail because they may not realize it subconsciously, but like at any sort of great length, but they just don't like the fact that they made this film, and you see it. And I often said how you can give a movie a fair shake. How can you give it a fair shake before the movie even comes out? You are pissed off that they're making it. Look, yes, I'm a hypocrite. Yes, I am. Okay, Ghostbusters 2016. I went into it not having a bad feeling about it. I gave it a fair shake, and I fucking hated the film. Okay, yes, fine. Call me hypocrite, but
I'm right there with you, man. I went to see Ghostbusters in the cinema. I thought, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I watched it, and I just didn't find it entertaining. It wasn't because I didn't like the fact that there was an all-female cast. I was happy that there was a female cast. I had no problem with that. My problem was it just wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. It just wasn't funny. And so you got those people, right? And they exist more so in the Disney and Marvel universe. But you have to ask, like, did you really give it a fair chance, or did you go in there hating it? Did you go into it wanting it to hate it? So it's a certain bias around it where they're just fucking livid this goddamn movie has been made. So that's why I think that's where Paul, that's where you kind of fit in at. Hell, I put myself in that because again, Ghostbusters 2016. I once I saw the trailer, I'm like, this is going to be dog shit, and but like I said, you really see that in Star Wars, the Marvel, and the Disney woke. Kathleen Kennedy. There's that whole side of it,
Yeah.
which a lot of Star Wars fucking hate her. Indiana Jones, Isle of Destiny. A lot of people hated that film. Some people went into that film wanting to hate it.
I still haven't seen that one yet.
Oh yeah. But a lot of people say it was terrible. It was terrible.
Well, it's going to be on Disney Plus later, so I'll probably check it out then.
So there you go. Yeah. So you have that exists, and I'm not saying that the mark is not not the rating on the mark on Rotten Tomatoes is not legit. It's not appropriate. I haven't seen the film, but I'm just saying that we do have that does exist. Then you have the other side, which is one of the complaints that I hear is that it's not scary. That it takes like an hour. Like, oh my god, an hour, a whole hour happens before anything happens. It takes an hour to get things in. It's just boring. A whole fucking hour. Okay,
You're
maybe.
Right. This is a 2-hour film, so
Okay, maybe they're right. We'll go see it and we'll probably look at our watch and go, holy fucking shit, when is this going to get going? Okay, yes, maybe. But this is a case of where this is an individual that just doesn't like this style of film, making a slow burn, pensive building characters. You're sitting there building the story, building the mystery, and it's taking its time. Listen, not all slow burn films work. Not all the work comes down to editing and pacing and the story and the character and keeping it interesting. You can have a slow burn film, and then you just look at your watch and be like, okay, let's get on with it. So
yeah.
I get that. So I'm not here to say that it's either or. I'm just saying that there are people out there that this type of storytelling, that The Exorcist, the original in particular, that type of storytelling, it's not cut from the same cloth of storytelling that most people are into, especially of a Jason or a Michael or a Freddy. So when I hear people say that, I'm just be like, did you watch the original film? Like, the original film was a slow burn. Like the first 15, 20 minutes takes place in Iraq, for God's sakes. Like it's not that type of film. So I go, okay, maybe they're right, or it's just them not liking this style of storytelling, building characters, building it up. So you have that to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Then there's the other people that are giving it a fair shake and do not like the film because there are issues with the structure, issues with the pacing, and that it's just not a good movie. For some it's a Halloween Kills, or where in case in terms of the structure and the dialogue, evil dies tonight, and
Yeah, I remember that.
And then you have the fourth, where you have people that go and watch it, and it's just it's alright, it's fine, and it actually is okay. It just cannot get from under the weight of its brand, and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's not like I've often said that the Exorcist believer doesn't have to be, although some people may fight me on this because it's the Exorcist, but what did I say, Paul? I said, realistically, it doesn't have to be fantastic, genius, great. All it has to be is just good, right?
Yeah.
It has to be good because of the weight that it's under, because of expectations. It just gotta be good. It's just gotta be good. Then you set the foundation for maybe what is to come. So I'm keeping an open mind, and maybe I'll go in and agree with this 21%, or maybe I'll go into it and be like, you know what, this is not as bad as they make it seem, or I could go in there and say this is fucking dog shit.
Well, like I said, man, I'm gonna wait until you go see it, and I know there's probably gonna be a day we'll end up doing a watch along of it, which I'm not opposed to, but I'm just, again, it goes back to the fact that I just don't trust the filmmaker with this one right now.
And so how do you, and being that we're on this, how do you feel about David Gordon Green as a director in his overall career? Because I got something I want to say about that.
Well, I saw Pineapple Express. I liked it. Like I said, I liked the first 2 Halloween movies that he did. And when I heard he was doing this is before I saw Halloween Ends, I was curious to checking it out. I was going to be open minded to it, but after the way Halloween Ends panned out, that's when I just fucking shitted on him because I felt like he fucked a lot of us over that were expecting a big epic showdown. We didn't get that. Instead, we got something completely opposite. It didn't even feel like a Halloween movie. And the fact that Michael Myers was at a cameo at best, man, I've never been, you know me, James. I'm very open minded to a lot of films. And rarely do I ever get legit pissed off with a film or a filmmaker. This is one of those occasions where I was legit pissed off with the film and pissed off with the filmmaker. So before Halloween Ends, I will say pretty damn good filmmaker. But after the disaster that was Halloween Ends, I'm just at this point now where I don't trust him to make a really good spin out of an established horror film. So that's why I feel like I feel when it comes to The Exorcist Believer. That's why there's a part of me that's happy that the film's getting shitted on, but there's a part of me that's like, man, if he did Halloween Ends differently, it would have been a different story. That's just my personal take on it.
Now as far as Pineapple Express goes, I personally feel that was all Seth Rogen and Danny McBride.
Yeah.
I believe that was their DNA all over that film. Where all David Gordon Green had to do was just arrive and film and just say action and cut.
Yeah.
And Pineapple Express is a great film. It's a really fun film. It's a fun movie. And here's the thing. Because you're right. Halloween fans are not too happy with David Gordon Green right now. And it makes me wonder, if this movie fails, because they've already announced that there's going to be a trilogy where you have Believer, Deceiver, and I forgot what the third film was going to be called, but
I think it was called Awakening.
So when you have a IP project, two back-to-back IP project that he's doing, and if what is happening is true, if it is true, again, haven't seen the film, if it is true, do you consider David Gordon Green a liability when it comes to the horror films? Because granted, the Halloween films made its money. Granted, there was diminishing returns in each film, but it made money. It made money, and I'm going to assume this is going to make money.
Oh, no doubt it'll make money.
Now, it's weird because you'll have the fan base that won't be happy, but the movie studios, you think they give a fuck about what the fans think? If it makes its money, they may look at David Gordon Green as like, hey, he's doing his job.
Again, it's like I said earlier, like when we were talking about Thanksgiving, you could have the best reviewed film on the market, you could have the shittiest reviewed film on the market, but if it's making the money, that's all that matters with these studios. Like it's the same with this. That's why the Saw movies have had the longevity, not only because it made the money, but also they had the fans on their side, regardless of what critics said about it.
So exactly. So when I think about, so when I think about will this affect him as a director, I don't think it will. But it may affect him directing the next film. He may be a producer whatsoever. Because the difference with Halloween 2018 was that, again, like with Exorcist, I said all he had to do was just all it had to be was just good. And for a lot of people, a lot of Halloween fans was genuinely happy with Halloween 2018. With me, like I said, you mentioned this, Paul. It's the best of the trilogy. I don't think, it's a particularly great Halloween film. It's a good modern slasher. I just don't think it's a great Halloween film. Like, I think there's multiple things in that film that they dropped the ball on.
It's like I said earlier, like the 2018 movie is your favorite in the trilogy. Mine was Halloween Kills. We have our reasons why we like those individual films.
Exactly. So here, like I said, Exorcist is, you could say, maybe a tier above Halloween, and so there's a lot more weight to it. And I do believe that if this doesn't go well, they either may not do a trilogy, or if it goes well, David Gordon Green may step away from the director's chair, maybe as a producer, because he has said, I saw an interview with him where he said he has the blueprint, he has an idea where he wants to go with this, and then maybe he'll pass those notes on to the next director. But
well, he's got 2 years to figure it out because the film's due for release on April 18th, 2025.
But I will say this though, if he was announced to do another Nightmare on Elm Street film, yeah, there would be a lot more pushback.
I'd be pissed. I do know this though. The guy they're eyeing to do a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot is the guy who did Doctor Sleep. And if you haven't seen Doctor Sleep, that's a fucking good film.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go. That could work. That could work. But but I mean, you could really say that David Gordon Green may have gotten lucky. He may have knew somebody that knew somebody. That got connected to Jason Blum, and hey, he hit the lottery with the Michael Myers films. And Scott Teems part of the writing crew in this film.
Yes. Yeah, Scott Teems and Danny McBride were doing the story for this Exorcist movie as well, yeah.
Okay, so Scott Teems was the one that wrote Firestarter, which got critically panned. He was behind, he helped write Halloween Kills, and that is, it's either or with that. Some people like it, some people hate it. He's the one that wrote he came up with the Evil Dies Tonight thing. Then you got Halloween Ends, which everybody shitted on. So it's like, it's like, look, I'm thinking, Scott Teems must have a picture of somebody doing things they shouldn't be doing with somebody, or he's holding blackmail. It seems like for a guy who seems to create projects that not a lot of people like, he seems to get a lot of writing jobs.
Well, as long as, again, like I said, as long as the money is being brought in, that's all that matters. As much as we hate that, that's how it is. It's money over art.
And also, in another review that I've seen, it said that that says that the movie's not particularly scary and it doesn't have that dread. And you know what? And that makes sense because that's something that the original Exorcist does have. There's this insidious dread. There's this, even when nothing particularly eerie or creepy is happening on screen, you just feel that weight of the story. You feel the weight of the stakes. You feel the weight of performances and how it feels so real, and it's creepy, it's eerie, and all that kind of stuff. And
the original movie was just, I remember when I first saw the original Exorcist movie, I was like, there was fucking goosebumps coming out of my arms with some of those scenes. Like when you saw the initial possession happening, like when you see her doing the stuff that she was doing, the head spinning part, and her stabbing herself with the damn crucifix. And then you see that little quick glimpse of that demon face. And I'm just like, whoa, this is something
exactly
right here.
Exactly. And that was my biggest problem with the Halloween 2018 film, is that it's a good film, but you didn't feel like, it didn't feel scary. It didn't feel eerie or creepy. It had moments.
Yeah.
But it didn't really, it was just there, and boom, poof, it's gone.
Yeah,
and
there was a few moments they dropped the ball on with that film.
Yeah, exactly. And then like I said, you walk with Halloween 2018, and you say to yourself, it's fine. And I still feel that way now that I did back then. Like when I watch Halloween 2018 now, I just go, it's fine. Yeah. So it's really, really interesting. If Paul, if you want to go ahead and pull up, you don't have to read every single one, but read maybe a couple other reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and see what people thought.
All right.
The word soulless keeps coming up.
All right. I'm going to read you some of the ones from the top critics, and we'll look at some of the audience ones, what they say about it. But the first one here, it's just a simple one here. The script is possessed by tiredness, and the setup is dull. William Friedkin's original 1973 take on demonic possession was thrillingly too much. This sorry sequel from David Gordon Green is boringly too little. Believe this. If you let the marketing devils lure you into this one, you're in for an unholy mess. That's from an ABC News critic. One here says Exorcist believer attempts to reboot the franchise for a modern audience, but in the process of the movie strips out everything that made the original so great, leaving behind a pathetic imitation that hopefully won't lead to another sequel. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Jake, but there is going to be another sequel. What else is here? We got one positive review. They gave it 6 out of 10, mind you. This is from AMFM magazine. He says, while Green did a fine job with the overall look and feel of the film. Okay, fine. Some of the jump scares, will this ever touch the original? Of course, well, never going to touch the original. What the fuck are you talking about? But
Okay, all right. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there because I've heard this as well. Is that that David Gordon Green again? I have to say, I have to reiterate, people haven't seen the film, but I have heard that David Gordon Green kind of relies on the jump scares as a crutch, which I hope is not true. Because again, if you watch the original film, it loses the point of, I hear it has a lot of jump scares, there's a lot of gore. It kind of loses the point of the original film because a lot of the scares in that film was very subtle. It was very subtle. It had a subtle creepiness to it where it didn't have to rely on boom all the time. One of the best examples of that where you can have a jump scare, but it's earned, is The Conjuring. No, like The Conjuring is one of the best examples how you could do jump scares, but it's earned because it's more about mood and atmosphere. So if that's true that David Gordon Green did that, then right there it's like he just completely missed the point of the original film. But go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I'm looking at some more reviews. Here's one here from Cage It TV from Bakersfield, California. Instead of giving the film a terrifying heart, Green never creates any real scares. There are some moments that are subtle, but it is a cheap substitute for a real spooky moment. There you go. Jump scares confirmed, dude. So that's the professional critics. Let's see what the audience have been saying about it, because right now the audience scored it at 55. Let me see if I can find one of them. Go here. Come on, load it up, you bitch. Right, here we go.
And another point I want to say about The Exorcist that people have kind of forgotten about, it's a horror drama. It's a horror drama because there's a lot of things that's happening. Not only you have the possession of Reagan, but you have what's his name? Damien, the priest, who loses his faith and he regains it again. Dealing with that.
Out of him to get the possession out.
Yeah, exactly. And then he has the whole weight of his losing his mom and all that stuff. Like it's a very character-driven film. It's not just about it's not about your mother sucks cocks in hell and fuck me. It's not about that. But people have kind of forgotten that that's what The Exorcist truly is. But go ahead.
Okay, here's one of the audience ones. It says here one guy here says. The movie was very boring, very slow, wasn't scary at all, totally disappointing. 1 out of 5. One person gave it half a star, saying nowhere near as scary as the first one, but he did give one positive note saying that Linda Blair is in it, but I'm not going to say where, but she is in the film too.
Okay, all right. Now Paul, do you think that's where they kind of mess up there? Were they going into it with the expectation to be as good as the first film?
Well, here's the thing, man. When you're doing a movie like The Exorcist, expectations are going to be stupidly fucking high.
But Paul, you can't go into the film like that. You have how much of a high bar that is?
A very high bar. Not everybody's going to reach it.
Okay, exactly. Like that's where listen, that's where they mess up there. You're talking about one of the greatest films of all time. There's no way that this film can reach that level. There's no way. So I think when you go into it expecting it to be just like the first film, you're lying to yourself and you're putting it in that giving it expectations that you know it's not going to reach. So I think that's kind of unfair. But continue.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some more reviews here. There's like let's see. I'm looking at the rotten ones right now. 32 certified at first, but there's a lot of rotten ones, trust me. Um I wouldn't bet against some future buff in declaring the latest episode of an underappreciated classic. It meets all the requirements. It's terrible. Many will certainly fail to appreciate it. That's what one critic here said from the Irish Times. Um Only been 2 months since William Friedkin passed away, but I fully expect him to rise from the grave and give David Gordon Green a beating for the Exorcist. Believe it. Well, that's what one person said here. Nice little comical one. More muddled than a bowl of pea soup. Yep, that's one. I'm trying to find a more objective one. Okay, one person here says the film's reasonably creepy. First act laboriously sets up what might be something good and jarring, only for the script to become a mishmash of barely considered ideas and mostly end up as a demonic herd, uh, shit show basically. So that's what uh, a lot of people are saying. It's like it's not creepy. It relies too much on jump scares. The script is a fucking mess. So there's a lot of multiple opinions, but they all seem to connect with the same thing, and that this movie is a mess. It is a straight up mess. So how that's going to react with the box office scores, who knows? So that's The Exorcist. I'm going to do a comparison now with the film I did see, and that was Saw 10. I'm going to tell you some of those ones. You see a comparison here. All right. So, like I said, this one was certified fresh. So, first one here. This is a long way to go for a film that when it first came out, they thought it was only going to be a straight to video. 10 films in, $1 billion franchise, and it feels like there's potential for even more. Um, Set between the first and second, the 10th installment of the franchise amazingly hasn't run out of steam. One person here said that not only is it a return to its roots, but it refines them, and Tobin Bell delivers a really good performance. And one person here said this film surprisingly has a decent amount of heart to go with the gore in this movie. So that's the general consensus here with that one. But you see the comparisons I'm trying to make here. Like you got one film where it's 10 movies in, and somehow this one has surprised a lot of people. I mean, I never expected that film to reach that score. And then you get The Exorcist, which again, a mega horror movie, which a lot of people say is one of the best movies of all time. And they really fucked up with this one. So that's the comparisons of what's going on here, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's gonna be it's gonna be really interesting to see. I may see it within a week or two. Like I said, I've been very busy, so I have to pick my spots.
That's fine.
Um,
I'm gonna wait until
but
you
yeah,
see it, and then you can tell me.
but yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. But really quick before we get out of here, let's talk about the Halloween. Um, the Halloween news about how Miramax is shopping the rights. Paul, is there
Oh,
any updates on that?
I'm gonna have a look at that right now. Let me just find that link that I sent you. Because I haven't looked at it for a while. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna load it up now. Right. This is what I've been reading so far. This is from Bloody Disgusting. But it says here the future of Halloween. Malik Akhed, who's the guy who's currently holds the rights to it, he's currently shopping rights for the film and TV. So he's aiming for this to be at least maybe a movie or maybe a TV show, kind of like what Friday the 13th was doing with Crystal Lake. Right. Last Halloween Steven marked the release of Halloween Ends, the final film in the free film trilogy directed by David Gordon Green, billed as the final battle. Really, this time between yeah, which turned out to be not so the case here. I'm just getting to the meat of this. Okay, so what they're hearing right now is that A24 and Miramax are the two main parties that are currently in battle for the TV rights of Halloween, and that A24 is currently in the lead with that. As you might recall, A24 recently won the rights to produce the Friday the 13th TV series, which is going to be on Peacock, which I don't know if the Crystal Lake will get some kind of showing in the UK, because for anybody who doesn't know, we don't have Peacock in the UK. Well, technically we do, but it's not the full streaming like platform like you guys have got over there. So there's a possibility that I might not be able to watch Crystal Lake or this Halloween TV series unless it's on like a dedicated Sky channel or some shit, or ends up on Blu-ray. But anyway, blood discussing sources have also indicated that Trancas is open to both film and television projects, and they're currently taking offers from studios and streamers alike. Everything's on the table at this time, and it's ultimately up to the studio and the field pitches to decide what's most appealing to them. And in the wake of Gordon Green's trilogy, Miramax would be a participant in any film deal, as they co-own the rights to every sequel. So right now it looks like that A24 might have the meat of the chops to turn it into a TV series like they've done with Friday the 13th. As for the movie ideas, I don't know, because I mean, let's face it, at the end of Halloween Ends, he got fed to a fucking meat grinder. So
Listen. Look. I can't take it no more. Okay, look. People's been asking me, James, what are your thoughts on this? And I kind of didn't want to talk about this, but now I feel like now's the perfect time to have. But all right, so let me just set this up. All right, so I saw somebody on Twitter, talking about this whole situation, and
yeah,
somebody was like, well, if they're gonna bring it back, let's not bring Laurie back and that whole story, because that character's been beaten to death and all that stuff. And I just look at it, and I just laugh at myself. I'm just like, and Michael hasn't. Like,
yeah,
listen,
right.
okay, listen, all right, listen. I feel bad for saying this. Like, I get, there's so many possibilities what you could do with Michael. He could do this, he could go after this person, he could do that person. I'm exhausted. Okay, listen. So I'm watching Malika Khan, and he's talking about how I forget how he said it in the 45th anniversary convention, but I was like in a written statement or something where he said that Michael Myers thinking about whatever, and I know that people probably cheered and be like, yeah, everybody's there, and I feel bad because I feel like it's a party pooper thing that I'm doing this, but I'm not going to sit back and think to myself, like I can intellectualize it and I can get it from a business perspective because Michael is the brand, he's the star. I get that, but there are moments where I'm at that point now where I'm thinking. Michael again? Like the only way I could get Jesus, like I can think like I'm at that point where just like, what more can we do? What more can we do?
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm done with the Halloween movies right now. I don't want to see another one, because think about this. We're 45 years in, we're 13 movies in. How the fuck are you going to bring him back after what happened? The only way I can see this happening is you're going to have a timeline set between Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. And if you're going to bring Danielle Harris into it, that would be the best time to do it. But apart from that, personally, unless they do that fan idea that you discussed with me a while back, but to be frank with you, dude, I'm done with Halloween right now. I'm done with it. I want to see something. I want to see Jason return. I want to see Freddy Krueger have his moment to shine. I want to see some new guys take the reins. Like Art the Clown or this John Carver dude from Thanksgiving. I want to see these guys make a splash and do something right now.
And I'm hearing like a TV series, and it's like so we're gonna go to Chucky route with Michael Myers. Like
Well,
I don't know if I want to see that either.
Think about this, right? Think about this. Some of these horror movies that become TV shows have been very successful in terms of viewership and reviews. I mean, Wolf Creek.
It's different with horror. It's different with horror.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, somehow it's worked. I mean, Wolf Creek has done it. Ash versus Evil Dead's done it. Chucky right now is currently making a splash with that stuff. So it seems like some of these films and like action movies and TV shows and horror movies have been finding new life as a TV show, and they've been And that's the formula that a lot of these fuckers have been going with right now. So I can understand why they're going in that direction, because you can get more out of it in TV shows. But it all depends on how well you put it together. And like I said, Ash vs. Evil Dead clicked with a lot of people. Wolf Creek clicked with a lot of people.
I just think,
Despite our issues with Chucky, with some of the content, that's been making a splash. There's moments in there that I enjoy. I understand some of the reasons why you got an issue with it. I get it. But, there is some bits in there where I'm just like, you know what? That's actually not too bad.
but here's the thing. It's just that it's just. Like either do an anthology series, call it Haddonfield or something, or the other option is expand on the season of the witch. It's just I just think soon after Halloween ends, and the next Halloween is like another Michael Myers announcement. It's like and it's like, just let him go away for a second. Like, make the people miss the Michael Myers character first, then bring this shit back up. How it ends was a year ago. It was a year ago. How can we miss you if you don't go away? Okay.
Like I said, we haven't seen Jason in 14 years, and I guarantee you, even though Crystal Lake's a TV show, I guarantee you, people are going to be buzzing like a motherfucker when they see that trailer.
And what a TV series. Look, I'm not going to act like I'm not going to watch. Of course I will. Look, I love Michael Myers. Halloween is my favorite horror film of all time. But the purest of me, and I'm only speaking for myself, I feel like you run the risk of demystifying him unnecessarily if you do a TV series. Okay? That's just me. You're going to have to reveal, expand. Like what we'll do? Like Michael Myers in the Smith's Grove years? Like, that's going to mystify him, week after week. You're going to have to unreveal certain things now just to keep the story going. It's like, right. And even if you do that, what the fuck can you do? Dr. Lewis has said that, I spent 15 years, watching him staring at a wall. It's like, you're going to make a TV show out of that? Like, come on, man. Like, I
know there's been comic books of Halloween, which is based in Michael Myers' incarceration in Smith Grove, where they do kind of expand on his lore. I know they've done that in the comic book. So if they go that route, I'm guessing that comic book will be the source material if they do that.
And then you go the route with, okay, you could do a show, and I hear people say you could do a show about Dr. Loomis, before he met Michael. And I'm just like, yeah, but here's how I feel. Dr. Loomis, before he met Michael, I'm pretty sure was very pedestrian, very, ordinary, before he meets Michael in 1963. So he said between 1958 and 1963 or something like that. And then you run, and you got to make the show interesting and compelling and scary. You have to fuck kids up that he meets, to run the risk. You have to, because you're going to water Michael down, and Michael no longer becomes special because you're going to have situations where Dr. Loomis, where Michael, that he ran into other fucked up kids before Michael. And that's going to make Michael not less special. It's like, man, look, I think a TV show is the wrong way to go. It's going to be bad.
I got a feeling it's probably going to be a disaster.
And then, like I said before too, Paul, like he said it in the first film, the first 7 years is him watching him staring at a wall.
Yeah, like, where's the interest in that?
Like, look, yeah, I just have a bad feeling about it. Now, A24, they may pull something out of their ass. I mean, I'm not the biggest A24 film, because we are the highbrow elevated horror. We are, what did Roman Reigns say? We are filet mignon. We're not cheeseburgers. And it's like, man, fuck off. It's like,
the fact that they have the Friday the 13th rights for a TV series, that surprised me. But the one thing I will say is that the guy that created the show is the guy who created the Hannibal TV series, which was actually pretty good. So it's in good hands, but it all depends on how far they're going to take it.
Yeah, man. It'll be very interesting. It'll be very interesting. But I think, Paul, I think that's where we could just cut it off from there. Good discussion. Good discussions on all three subjects. Hopefully, the people here at PrimeTime Gorehound Nation, or that sounds so corny. I'm sorry. Are enjoyed this episode. Yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. But Paul, anything else that you want to add? If not, you can go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
Trying to think what else I'm gonna put into this. I will say that there's a really cool RoboCop video game dropping in November, and I'm looking forward to playing that. That's something in terms of video games, guys. That would be something to check out. And of course, there's another horror game called Quantum Error, which is dropping, ironically enough, on Halloween. So be on the lookout for that because I might end up streaming those. And where you can find me on streaming, well, that's easy. You can find me on Twitch, Gorehound1983. And if you want to see some photography stuff and you're on Facebook, just type in Paul Burt's Photography Corner and you can see some of the photos that I've taken, including the ones from my trip in Germany.
Sweet. And yes, so that's gonna wrap up episode 68 of the Primetime Gorehounds. Now again, we apologize for being away. Like I said, a lot of things have happened. Me and Paul will be back next time. I don't know when yet, because like I said, a lot of bookings, a lot of promoters will be at the show, so not as free on the weekends as I used to be. Like this is literally the only weekend I'm like only Friday where I've had off. So we will be back. Don't know when, but we will be back. And I haven't forgotten the movie that we're gonna watch was Amityville. I didn't forget about that. It was my choice.
Well, here's what I'm thinking: if we can get a film going sometime before this month ends, I've got something in mind. I'm gonna put Rawhead Rex on the burner for a minute because if we can squeeze a film in before this month's over, here's what I'm thinking for my pick. Devil's Night is not far behind, and I know the perfect movie for that. If we can do it this month, I'm thinking The Crow.
That would be great. That would be great. That would be awesome. But yeah, like I said, I'll just keep y'all posted. In the meantime, I will do sporadic videos if anything of interesting comes up. But yeah, this is the Primetime Gorehounds episode 68. I hope everybody has enjoyed the show. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'm gonna go eat me some tacos. But
Tacos!
Exactly. And for those that are subscribed to the Primetime podcast, there's a very strong possibility. Can't guarantee, because like I said, I'm talking with a wrestling promoter right now. There is a chance there could be a Fastlane commentary. So I'll keep y'all posted on that. I'm not sure. But so there's that could be happening. And like I said, just follow us, hit that like, subscribe button, share the video. And I'll keep y'all updated on the community tab on when the next Primetime Warhound episode will be. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. Everyone, have yourselves a great Friday night, and have a great weekend as well. I'm Primetime Jay Thomas with Paul Bird, the Gorehound himself, and we are out of here. And have a good night, and we'll see you later. Peace.
Later.